Elementals of Harmony by fan of most everything. It's Chapter 5, Intermezzo. What in the hell was that? Big McIntosh rushed out of the house, seeing his sister with mouth agape and staring at the empty patch of dirt. As the stallion got closer, he saw the ground looked like it still a firecracker gone off on it, circular blast power plainly evident, the pattern interrupted by a similar burst to one side. Ow! Ow! Elsa apparently found her voice during its investigation. She shook her head, trying to fall off all the possibilities that he had gathered. You ain't gonna believe me, Big Mike. He couldn't help but grin at this.
Sis, if you told me the sky was green, I'll be wondering why the princess wouldn't change it. What's just say?
Doesn't you don't cast a spell? The enormous point paused at this, and turned to examine the tiny craters. After a moment further consideration, he arrived at a hypothesis.
So you explode?
I glanced at the smaller burst.
Twice?
No, she didn't explode, you overgrown candy apple. She gonna blow her to the clear noon sky, and the next thing I knew, she'd think you were plumb gone. Big Mac chewed this over, along with his haystack.
You certainly didn't explode.
The look Applejack gave her brother would have frightened any pony who hadn't grown up watching her perfect it. Take no way any self-respecting pony to blow up her own flesh and blood.
Well then, Miss Magic Expert, what did she tell you?
Aaron's pony frowned at Don this. Well, I had to get assassination teleport. Looks an awful lot like the aftermath of one of Twilight's. And she seemed awful desperate for a getaway.
And what was that?
She was found something about the element honestly making her spill her guts. Saying round the edge and saying something she wanted to keep under wraps real by it. Well, pony frowned as he came to his decision.
Sis, I think you should go see Miss Twilight about this. Seems awful serious.
The mayor gave a sheepish grin. Can I wait till supper?
Applejack?
Oh, I'm just joking. Mostly. Besides, Spike's near as good as a cook as a money if he's using apples. Incident report. 5872-3377. Reporting guards point. Capital Seraph Plume. Report filed. 1950-28 Incident. Anno Celestia 5872. Incident description. At 1853 this evening, there was a spontaneous flash of blue light approximately 5 kiloponies above Mount Canterlot. After the flash receded, PFC Swan Dive reported that the manifestation of an adult female Pegasus and juvenile female unicorn at the point of the flash. Orders of intercept were given and carried out. The unicorn was supplied with a Cloudwalk talisman, and both ponies were placed into custody of Sky Barracks Gamma. The Pegasus was unconscious but stable. The unicorn identified herself as Dinky Doo of Ponyville. She also identified the Pegasus as her mother, Ditzy Doo. According to the younger Doo, her mother had been on the premises of Sweet Apple Acres, a farm on the outskirts of Ponyville, when the elder Doo emitted a brilliant blue radiance from her entire body. Next moment, both were airborne. Custody of the Doos has been transferred to Castle Maidesguard in 1953. Ditzy Doo remained unconscious. Twilight! Applejack sang out, having already knocked at the library door a few times. Come on, girl, I'm starving out here! Time continued to pass with no sign of anyone, pony or dragon, coming to let her in. The farmer sighed. I'll give this one last try, and then I'll head on home. Cold silver bear and no silver at all. With that, she delivered a solid apple buck to the side of the tree. As a few leaves fell around her, Applejack was pleased to see a response. Twilight had opened the half of the door, and was now blinking incredulously at her. After the door was open, the airplane could see a shimmering field that was filling the doorway, like a film of a soap bubble wand. He also realized he couldn't hear a thing coming out of that living building. Twilight, what kind of crazy magic did you work on this poor tree? The unicorn's eyes widened as he wordlessly laughed to herself before her horn glowed and the pearly field vanished. Sorry, E.T., I'd forgotten about that field of silence. What's up? Well, The farmer paused for a moment as he took in the state of her friend. Without the frosted glass effect of the silence seal, Twilight was clearly a mess. Her mane seemed clumped into assorted dreadlocks, deformed into a prolonged neglect. The hair around her eyes seemed to glisten unhealthily, and the eyes themselves were both bloodshot and faintly glowing. Oh, Twilight, what have you been doing to yourself? Unicorn blinked in confusion. What do you mean? Well, you look like you ain't slept a blade since I last laid eyes on you. Come on then, little crazy mayor. I'm stating you on air, Fritz. She opened the bottom half of the door. The librarian couldn't help to bring herself to make eye contact with the indignant Earth pony. Is it really that bad? Applejack turned to better appraise her friend's welfare. Twilight had definitely lost some weight. Her tail seemed as bad as her mane, and more oddly, tiny patches spread sporadically throughout her coat. One even stretched across her left cutie mark, much of the orange mere distress. Twa, I'm your friend. So all I'll say is that I'm real glad Rarity ain't here to see you like this. Whole thing probably failed to sell you. She shook her head. Honestly, Sugar Cube, this here is just plain unhealthy. I thought Spike makes sure this thing won't happen. Spike's been asleep for most of the weekend. I think he's about to molt. Molt? Twilight perked up a bit now that the subject was her neglect. A dragon's scales are designed to grow together in an interlocking suit of natural armor. When the scales of a young dragon like Spike become so linked together that his body can't grow any further, he sheds the whole layer. It's really energy-intensive period. He can't do much beyond eat and sleep. He's done it twice since I hatched him. I was so worried the first time it happened. He was still teething at the time, so... Oh, wait. I know what's going to happen, Twilight. Spike's going to mold, and then, while his shiny new scales are still soft and vulnerable, he's going to get himself pinpricked, and then you're going to come in and help it. Sorry. I haven't read a Descendant story in so long. I need to pick me up. Applejack held up a forehoof. This is fascinating and all, but we've got more prisoners concerned and fights for his years. Right. Twilight folded in on herself in shame. Her friend put a foreleg over her shoulders. I don't mind, Sugar Cube. I'm worried for you. What if I hadn't come in for a visit tonight? How much longer were you going to run yourself around to the ground like this? Well, I was in the middle of refining a possible improvement of American Le Fay's third principle of leyline channeling, so... Twilight grimaced. I have no idea. Thank you, Applejack. No need to thank me. Just promise me you ain't going to try to be as big a fool as I was last Apple season. Cross my heart, hope to fly, stick a cupcake in my eye. Frecklemare nodded, satisfied. How long need till here? Now, let me see how blankets and supper. I don't know if I have that much in the pantry. Oh, I'm sure I can figure out something. Applejack went into the library, small kitchen. Now, let's see what we got to work with here. The cupboard proved to be nearly bare, save for a single cardboard box sitting on the floor. An awkward silence reigned as he examined the contents, only to be disposed by a declaration of, Twilight! Get that scrap behind yours in here! As he did, the unicorn wondered if this is how Applebloom felt after a particularly foolish crusade. Yes? What in the hell you say it? All of indicated that the question was the box, apparently comprised of Twilight's entire food supply. A box of ramen feed bags? And is there any food in this here tray? The answer came out of a volume normally reserved for Fireside. No. You can't be serious. To be fair, they got me through studying for finals at the academy. To be fair, there's more salt in that there box than there is all the saloons in Appaloosa. Elsick made her way out the kitchen. So, I'll go tell the season. You're coming with me back to Sleepy Apple Acres, and I'm feeding you something other than a nose being full of loose oats. Twilight spared the scene, seeing some plans. But, what if Spike wakes up? What if he still gets those skills? Well, that all depends. Do my dragons help their babies in such a situation? Well, that depends on according to species. Some... Applejack cut off the lecture before Twilight could build up any momentum. In Spike's case? Oh, well, no. Then the little fellow'll be fine. Grab a milk, get yourself a quick shower, and we'll get you fed in proper. I can tell what I came to tell you. If anybody asked, she was still the great and powerful Trixie! You found their pyrotechnics! Woo! She was just making her way to one of the switchbacks that cropped up on the precocious road of show business. Losing one's home stage, personal library, and method of transportation, one fell swoop can do that. Still, it'd take more than that to end the dreams of the stalwart and dedicated Trixie! For now, however, she had to recoup her losses, and to do that, she had to make her way to one major city, easily reachable from Ponyville on hoof. Canterlot. It was the next stop on the tour anyway. Thankfully, the time went informally Trixie had been able to find a decent job with astonishing ease. And said job was occupied the graveyard shift mattered not, especially since it was the graveyard shift at the Royal Library. The opening had been made at request of Princess Luna herself. Working from 8 at night to 4 in the morning was a small price to pay for a daily opportunity to interact with the enigmatic Princess of the Night, especially since she was every bit as magnanimous as kind as her older sister. To think that such a being would deny to discuss matters of politics, history, and arcane science with the likes of the awestruck and unworthy Trixie! Why, it was a dream come true. The frank and self-aware Trixie would be lying if he claimed that she did not degenerate into a screaming school feeling on first night. Thankfully, she who ignited the stars was his understanding of such awe as he was deserving of it. She even offered an understanding ear to the Snow Pony's shameful exploits in Ponyville, and freely offered sage advice on the matter. She helped the abashed and humiliated Trixie see past the wound to her pride, to see her ouster from the village as an opportunity. Here was a benchmark, a rival, a metric by Trixie could measure her own progress as a maid. That said metric was no less than the purposeful pupil Princess Celestia herself. Well, that only spoke well of Trixie's own potential, did it not? Though the less said of the incident 2 weeks ago in regards to that rivalry, the better. In that case, the series of off-screen events explained why the drowsy and under-caffeinated Trixie was making her way to Castle Canterlot at 7:30 in the evening, only to stumble upon a cluster of servants and guards around one of the guest rooms. Intrigued, she found one of the guards' boys whose acquaintance she made. Dark, what's going on here?
You ever heard?
Guarding Dark was easily recognized as one of the few Earth Points in the castle's bartered retinue. While his armor made the same uniform as black as the other Earth Point guards, there simply wasn't that many other Earth Point guards, with whom he could be confused. Luna's pet librarian, remember? It had been the guard's description of her when he had first heard her position, but the adjective and other adjective Trixie, she really needs a coffee, was learning to keep such friendly tabs for bruising her ego. And it was both rather accurate and kind of funny. I only woke up about an hour ago.
Right. Sorry, Patty.
The recovering surveyor held back a grimace. Speaking of the first point was a simple matter. Ending playful generation was something she was learning. But having to dust off the mocker pretenses was really a test of her will. The guard continued heavily.
Well, apparently there's some kind of mystical mishap in Ponyville.
You don't say. The opaque composed Trixie maintained a careful poker face, honed through a long experience of hecklers of all stripes, zebras included. Internally, though, she was beginning to worry for Twilight Sparkle. How could she prove herself even greater to Celestia's protege if said protege went and tripped on her own horn?
Yeah, apparently some unicorn filly managed to teleport herself above the castle.
While relieved at the news that her rival was safe, the puzzled, perplexed Trixie was now faced with something new to chew over. That shouldn't be possible.
I know, right? Well, the thing doesn't even have a cutie mark yet. You'd think something like that would be worth it.
No, that literally shouldn't be possible. Even if a foe had that kind of power, there is no way she could control it long enough for a teleport. That kind of magic is so intricate, most unicorns never manage to perform it. Myself included. The bitter and befuddled Trixie added silently.
Semi-satisfying. Hey, that's what I heard.
The intrigued alert Trixie wasn't through. In this conundrum, she found herself better stimulant than usual. I suppose she's asleep.
With her mother, apparently. Once she heard where her daughter had ended up, she flew here non-stop. Both were exhausted before the maids even had the room prepared.
Flew? Her mother's a Pegasus?
Dark frowned. Now don't tell me you're one of those breed purists. Patty, I honestly started to like you.
And nothing of the sort. It just adds another wrinkle to this. The thoughtful and ruminating Trixie began running through a list of books that might be helpful in figuring this out. Thanks for the news, Dark. If something else develops, you can stop by the library after your shift ends.
Sure thing. Have a good night, Patty.
You too. Grey's Anatomy seemed to be a good starting point. Maybe the princess could recall a similar incident that history had forgotten. That night, the dudes slept. Trixie conjugated, and Applejack assured that Twilight didn't research herself into an early grave. All the while, Mana continued to coalesce, and as it did so, it passed a critical threshold. Only one pony could have seen the faint shapes that traced themselves in the moonlight, as she was currently unconscious. But those shapes themselves could see much, including the main possible facts full of manifestation. One required nothing but time, but there were other, faster ways. Though only quasi-real, the forms could nonetheless subtly nudge things of equally dubious existence, catalyzing their realization. So they did. In 6 buildings scattered across Ponyville, the fabric of reality began to fray. The castle of Pegasus squirmed in her dreamless sleep. Congratulations! You got a new card! Exhaustive Freeze hurts. 2 blue mana. Sorcery. Draw 3 cards. Skip your next untapped step. If Celestia wanted me to sleep, then she wouldn't have created books and caffeine. Twilight Sparkle. You know, that's gotta make you think, Trixie. What? How all the elements are starting to burst into their specific powers? How the fabric of reality might be in danger? No, Trixie. Why is it that in Magic that the blue mana is represented with a U? I mean, this doesn't make any sense. I mean, there's a U and blue to be sure, but couldn't that just be workable just as easily as an N? Or an E? Or something? Why are you? Why are you of all things? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't link with anything. And
Get on with it! Get on with it! Yes, get on with it!
sorry, it's just one of those things. Anybody out there who's a Magic the Gathering fan, please write down in the comment below, why are we using U for blue? Chapter 6. Omen's Importance. And every time I read that line, all I can think is Babylon 5. Now, remember to do as your father says. Yes, Mom. Don't wander away from the tour group until the tour is over. I know, Mom. And remember, if a sign says authorized personnel only, it doesn't secretly say and also their families. Dizzy do, caught in the gangly grip of Pegasus puberty. Smell at her mother. We've been doing this for 5 years, Mom. I think I've got a handle on it. Nimbus Lace bit her lower lip, then burst into tears, sweeping her wings around her daughter. My baby is going home! Mom! At least, reflected the younger blonde, but that we were in public. Eventually, Nimbus released the pony who, in her mind, would always be her darling little filly. Tears are still streaming down the pale blue Pegasus' eyes, but a smile was firmly in place. You go have fun with your daddy. I know you don't want to spend another day listening to me dissect my client's horrible taste. Dissy nodded, then frankly backpedaled. It's not like it's not important, especially not if you like it, Mom. It's just... Her mother gave a soft, understanding laugh. I'm teasing you, little Finny. Besides, even if I chose to weather it's in the oven, the interior decorator will take your father to work day.
I heard that.
Derby Doo practically bounced into the front room of the apartment, tongue firmly in cheek and bulls at a regular angle, with a huge grin at his wife and child. He put the lair. Well, little muffin, ready for another trip to Vulcan's Pharaoh Arts? His cutie mark, a pair of tongs holding a bowl of lightning, seemed to glow with the power of pure ham. Ditsy returned the white smile. Lean on, big muffin. Plaza Day. The first signs had been subtle. So subtle that only one could perceive them. Now, as forces beyond equine ken struggled towards existence, the ripples they caused took a turn for the more overt. Purse strings seemed looser in the carousel boutique. Unicorns felt an odd sense of elation as they passed the library. Every pony felt a surge of euphoria in Suki Corner, independent of the baked goods. Nobody painted a phenomenon much mind. Was to say, no pony painted much mind. Wiser, stranger creatures understood the meanings of such omens, and they made their own preparations. One such creature was Angel Bunny. His defaults to Fluttershy notwithstanding, he was still a child of the Everfree. Furthermore, he was technically a monster. A hyper-intelligent rabbit-y thing known as to creatures of zoology as a legomoth. In addition to his being smarter than the average hare, this also explained his opposable thumbs, and at least began to explain why he was currently meditating atop his hut. Fluttershy happened upon him, head balanced on the wide end of a carrot, and gave him a small gasp. Angel, I had no idea you could do something like this. The legomoth opened one eye and gave a small smile. Silly pony, Looks like he had a reason to wax sadistic before now.
Did Sakura teach you to do this?
Ah, yes, the shaman, Sakura. His context praised the zebra, impressed by an equine who could see a self-meditating ecosystem without having a cognitive fit. He shook his head best as he could in his current position. Driving the narrow end of the carrot into the ground would defeat the point of the exercise.
Oh, well, I don't mean to disturb you. I just want to let you know we won't have to operate on Mr. Beaver after all.
Angel gave a thumbs up. He considered it appearance nuts from his pet pony's perspective. Tiny, dexterous digits meant that to finicky detail work that the host couldn't handle it well onto his plate. But that was neither here nor there. He returned his gaze inward, focused on the task before him. The Legomoth did not know why the flows of magic were sifting as they were, but it was clear that they were, and it would be a fool to not exploit the new order of things. The author apologizes in advance to all speakers of the French language, and to all sapient bags of flour. It's okay, fan almost everything, but you owe me a cookie! And a brownie.
La la la, la 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 la.
Pinky was in her default snare of merriment as she made her way to Shikaku corn cellar, intent on getting another bag of flour. Much to surprise, one of the bags he purchased the day before had been nibbled open. The party pony frowned for a moment before returning to her in muscle ground state.
Well, I guess I'll have to just call in Fluttershy. She'll need to know what to do.
That is Pegasus! Mademoiselle, I thought you knew better! The princess voice sent a tail down Pinky's spine.
You aren't real.
The statement was sticky, down creeping in at the edges. Si ce n'est pas un sac de fontaine, you cannot question the evidence of your own eyes and my ears, my petite Cevalette. The knob bag seemed to gaze knowingly into the Pegasus' soul, despite its lack of eyes. Pinky's frown seemed to stay.
You aren't even the same bag. I used it to bake it for the cake for the sorry I lost my favorite French party.
The sack rose upright. Its bleats by Sarah began to leak out. Oui, you did. The tone made clear the ingredient's opinion on that last incarnation's fate. But Madame de Fleur sees more than the bag of grain, non? Piggy took a desperate look around the basement. No sacks of rocks or baskets of turnips. At least none she could see. And she could see any number of places where a dust mine could secrete itself. Especially at night at Camelin.
Your delusions. Fragments of my mind just split up as I was going completely oatmeal.
The other bags of flour had risen behind their mistress, echoing her motion towards the bearer of laughter. As she knows, Pinky, say my asthma. Its nature is clear to you, is it or not? Centipedes, beetles, and other creepy crawlies began to exit the wound in Flower's side, a verminous vanguard that swarmed towards the earth pony, with a speed that the baking supplies couldn't match. For a moment, icy dread clutched the mare's heart. She looked up and saw something that gave her hope. A grin turned to her face.
Uh-huh. Buckers knew you to Nightmare Moon on our worst day, but it came here because of me. Because of the element of laughter.
Only Pinky's immediate family would be qualified to say if she ever bore a more serious expression than she did now.
But this isn't funny.
Sandy, such as it was, reasserted itself with that proclamation. The saddling horde of ground returned to a neat, decidedly inanimate pile. The lead paw began dancing in the mare's peripheral vision, which solved itself into a knife floaty. Satisfied to reestablish her tenuous grip of reality, Pinky selected an unspoiled bag and returned upstairs. As he closed the door, the young bagger sedulously ignored the whispered, "Soon, mademoiselle, soon." Twilight Sparkle did not have a very consistent sleep schedule. Oh, she tried, but when some especially obscured, difficult, or intriguing line of research presented itself, she dove into it like Pinkie Pie in an all-you-can-eat buffet, intent on extracting every delicious datum the subject had to offer. At such times, it took a friend or assistant to drag her back to the world every organ but her brain inhabited. With Spike molting and Aloysius taking a leave of absence, after giving his 2 weeks' notice, of course, Applejack had to act as a disrupting factor this time around. While the unicorn was ashamed that such masters had become not just necessary but routine, she had to admit that getting pulled out of her studious stupor by a scion of the Apple family had its perks, like an impressive country breakfast the next morning. Granny smoothed and waved off her offer to recompense the farmer's hospitality.
A bunny's friends is their second family, the matriarch had said, and us apples always look out for family.
Well, faithful winks again.
You just don't go thinking you're hotcakes every time you outdo that fancy book learning of yours, missy.
Another benefit, at least in this instance, was the opportunity to discuss the previous night's incident on site, with two eyewitnesses on hoof whose combined recollections had made a moment-by-moment reconstruction of the event. As she concluded her analysis of the Apple sister's testimony in her own scans, Twilight was astonished. This defies every known law of magic, but everything is eternally consistent. She turned to her freckled friend. Applejack, incredible as your story sounds, I have to believe you. A teleporting Pegasus is the only possible explanation for this residual magic. Avalon gave a low whistle as her little body continued to ring.
No wonder Miss Trixie always slurs the mile on time.
The unicorn shook her head, still deep in thought. No, this is definitely new. There's simply too strong a genius here for me to have missed it if Dizzy had been doing it on any kind of regular basis. This kind of intensity could register even without my having to constantly try to detect magic for a few seconds after. Oh, that was a joke, wasn't it? Twilight gave an awkward chuckle as he remembered how conversation worked. Applejack gave a grin at this. Don't worry about it, Sir Cube. Keep on playing Fetlock Holmes to see if you can tell where she don't say herself. Right. Closing her eyes, the bearer of magic devoted her entire conscious awareness to mentally following the faint eighth-year trail that stretched away from the farm. Mote by mote, she followed the hours-old path, painstakingly reassembling a line blurred by the wake of a Pegasi, interference from the ever-free force, and even the omnipresent solar wind that rippled through Celestia's mane. The magical prodigy was about halfway there, when her concentration was wrecked by something falling on her head. What the? She opened her eyes to see a scroll roll to a stop in front of her. The blonde farmer shrugged. Puff of green flew at you. Probably the library. Still say something, but I don't think you're down break your focus just by it. She considered the scroll, sealed with Celestia's signature sunburst. How do you know the spot could get later to chase you down? Twilight scratched her muzzle and thought, you can't. At least, you should be able to do so. The princess must have worked on some kind of magic to this scroll before she sent it. With that, she lifted and unrolled the letter, habitually reading it aloud.
To my dear, faithful student, Prince Twilight Sparkle, I hope this letter finds you well. I write to you because, through totally exceptional circumstances, the postmistress of Ponyville, Mr. Cicida Dizzy-Doo, teleport herself and her daughter roughly 5.3 kiloponies above Castle Canterlot this evening. Rest assured that, save for an entirely understandable case of mana exhaustion, both are in perfect health. I assure you have countless questions on how a Pegasus can teleport. Well, it's not my story to tell, nor my place to tell it. Should Elder Miss Dew would like to do so, she will be the one who answers your questions. For the moment, however, Ponyville is without a postal service. For the duration today, I, Princess Celestia, name you, Twilight Sparkle, Professional Assistant Postmistress of Ponyville, and endow you with the power to deputize any ponies in the town as temporary postal workers. You may use this letter as proof of this decree. I strongly recommend that you see Mayor Mayor about this as soon as you are able. Your teacher, Princess Celestia. P.S. Princess Luna will be accompanying the Dews when they return to Ponyville, along with a protege of hers that I think you will find much in common. Please do remember, my sister is still somewhat leery of public after a millennium lunar cycle, and to keep the town from having 2 months of a grandiose reaction to her visit.
Ah, the days before lunar eclipse, people. Ah, mighty seems so long ago. Both mayors took a moment to process this. Applejack came to a conclusion first. Well, that would have been nice to have an hour ago. After several seconds, with neither quiet agreement or scolding for disrespecting the princess, the orange mayor glanced at her friend. Twilight? The unicorn paled so much, she seemed to have been dipped in bleeds. Her pupils had shrunk to pinpricks. One oral eyelid was twitching so fast, Applejack thought she heard the tiny occasional sign boom, only for the sound to escape in the shell-shocked student's lips was to say, Twilight? Farmer rolled her eyes, before not so gently nudging the quivering pile of panic that called itself Twilight Sparkle on the side. This seemed to end the murmur present and break the dams on the mayor's worry. Postmistress! Deputizing! Going to visiting! What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Applejack sighed. I'll say this to your friend, but you need to set your trap before I do it myself. Ty's expression was still that blend of existential dread and constipation known as high anxiety. At least now she was quiet. Good. Now, take a deep breath. The amplifying mare put herself nearly forehead to forehead with her friend, trying to fill Twilight's field of vision with her own eyes as much as possible. Her voice was gentle, steady, almost hypnotically cadenced. Remember who you are. This ain't nothing compared to winter wrap-up. Forget about Princess Luna for right now and focus on the mail. Make a plan, pick your deputies, and get the job done. Can you do that? Why does that sound like that would actually be a fun episode? After a moment, the unicorn nodded. Good girl. Go get started. Twilight nodded again and made for the town. Applejack smiled, satisfied he averted some harebrained attempt to magic everything better. Avalum, who had never left, but she felt like she had nothing to contribute when talk came to magic and royal duty, stared at Big Sister in awe. Why, it was so cool, gusted Philly. I see that thing with the voice and the close-up and now. When Samantha has her calf next month, the fellow laughed. The older sister grinned to herself. It wasn't quite hypnotism, more like exploiting the herd instinct. It became easier to calm down a cow in labor, or a pony in panic, when you parent to know what you're doing. To one so distressed, it meant she could relax and let you worry about the problem. Oh, Applejack? What is it, Apple Bloom? The body's supposed to be clear, right? Nick answered the question, broke the head pony's wisdom afterglow. You're a big kid, Blue. Well, you can read the weather schedule as good as mine. Yeah, but what's that? Applejack followed her sister's pointing hoof. Sure enough, there was a cloud. As she watched, she could see that not only was this cloud moving, it was moving towards the Everfree Forest, with the area of Pegasus in sight. What? She said honestly. It's the second impossible thing I've seen in so many days. Verity friends, he stammered in distress. The design, of course, was near flawless. It could have been perfect as it had been a commission, but there was only one someone could do without suddenly becoming a single intended wearer. The interpreting wearer and worn was, of course, an essential aspect of fashion. In any case, it wasn't a form of fabric that had flummoxed, it was the gems. The precious stones adorning the dress clashed with it horribly, both it and each other. The colors seemed closely entirely at random. In some cases, the jewels managed to clash with themselves, so obviously flawed or rifling inclusions that they seemed to fit only for dragon fodder. That none of this had been true the night before made it all the more vexing. With a practiced eye and horn, Verity determined that the emeralds were still emeralds, sapphires still sapphires, except those that were now rubies, and so forth. Only the color and quality seemed to have changed. Possible explanations for such an altercation were few and far between. One stood out in her mind, especially you wish it didn't. Going to her sister's room, the fashionista gave the door a knock. Sweetie, are you awake? Come on in, sis. As she entered the room, Rarity was immediately struck by the odd assembly of pipes, building blocks, and other miscellany taking up the majority of this forest place. Her sister had his foot performing some manner of arcane adjustment. Sweetie Ben, did I ask what manner of device is this? The sister looked up from her grin. Do you like it? I had this amazing dream last night, and when I woke up, I remembered every little detail. That never ever happens to me. It's gotta be a sign for getting my cutie mark. It's certainly possible, dear. The designer was hardly one to question providence in such matters. That still left a number of questions. What exactly does it do? Not done yet. I can't really show you what it is. The young unicorn seemingly became fascinated by her carpet. I'm kind of gonna need a few jewels to finish it, if that's okay. The subject of jewels reminded Verity what brought her here in the first place. Have you taken any from the store's chest or anywhere else? Sweet frankly took her head. Nuh-uh. I know how important those are to you, sis. I never touch them without permission. Which is what I'm kind of asking for now. Never touch them for permission. Sister Who Soso would like to have a few words. Satisfied that her prime suspect wasn't responsible for despoiling her design, the dressmaker gave said suspect a reassuring smile. Then I'm sure we can come to an arrangement. Are you going to need anything specific? Cut, color, size?
The smile with his ear brought a stab of guilt to Rarity's heart. It also made that sensation more than bearable. Oh.
Blinking up was number 3 on Rainbow Dash's all-time list of things she hated, right between losing and her middle name. Today was no exception, especially since he had been having an enjoyably weird game involving Wonderbolts, a swarm of flying pies, and a mud wrestling tournament. Still, her stupid dumb body had stupidly insisted she wake up for some stupid reason. And wasn't interested in what she felt were very good reasons as to why she could sleep in until something important happened, like the sun burning out. As Dryas gradually came to, she couldn't help but notice that her mattress and pillow both seemed softer than usual. Since both were made of clouds, that prompted her to wake her faster. Only way such a sensation could be possible was if she was in free fall. However, once the Pegasus had gotten to the point where she could open her eyes, she relaxed. It was clear she was still in bed. The non-terminal velocity date would tear her way too firm. Then she tried to get up. One might expect her hate list. It was getting out of bed, never an easy feat for Rainbow Dash. Today, however, this was not only because of sluggishness. The cloud stuff that constituted her bed had softened to the consistency of marshmallow fluff at some point in the night. Thus, Dash found herself struggling against her mattress, like a spider in a fire pit. At first, she tried to get these struggles to some kind of rhythm, shouting at time with her tugs,
"This doesn't make sense!"
and if it didn't, Dash had neither heard of clouds behaving as her furniture was. As time passed, though, she never admitted to anybody. Claustrophobia began to creep into the Pegasus' mind. She sacrificed the time straining of her frantic feel fire in her face response. Sounds of "Let me out!" came again and again. Not even Dash knew where or what she was yelling. Clouds, herself, Equestria as a whole. Time passed, heedless of her being. She just paid little attention to that passage. At some point, the fear overwhelmed her rational mind. A blind animal panic settled in. By the time exhaustion allowed her to regain lucidity, Dash was even more trapped than before. Everything below her neck was entombed in a taffy-like substance that clouds simply weren't supposed to be. Her throat was sore, and her voice a hoarse whisper. She kept repeating what had become meaningless mantra.
"Let me out!"
Her lips were stiff and unresponsive. "Let me out!" She could feel the gooey gunk curling every feather and hair.
"Let me out!"
She couldn't tell where the clouds ended, and her sweat-soaked form began.
"Let me out!"
To her horror, the simplest mass that had been pillow and comforter began to shift and flow like a life of her own.
"Let me out!"
As she covered her eyes, she felt too tired to blink. "Let me out!" As she covered her mouth, she felt too tired to scream.
"Let me out!"
As she covered her nostrils, she felt too tired to breathe.
"Let me out!"
In a frenzied return to awareness, Rainbow Dash reduced her sheets to a thin mist. Didn't even notice. She was far too pissed, curling into a fetal position, shaking with fear, convulsing with sobs that bordered on hyperventilation. Mentally, she calmed down enough to register what had happened was a dream. It took longer for her to compose herself to her satisfaction. Drying the tears she never admitted to shedding, and reassured herself that mattress was the same chunk of springy cumulus she had fallen asleep on last night. After the nightmare's aftermath passed, Dash could then notice her bedroom seemed somehow darker than usual. A quick once over determined it actually was darker. Clouds that made up the walls of sleek gray and heavy with static. The Pegasus frowned at this. At the ridiculous display Dizzy had managed yesterday, the place couldn't have needed another discharge for a good 3 weeks. That looked like the house hadn't been disturbed with thunderbolt for about a month.
"Lightning always used to give me nightmares,"
the would-be Thunderbolt muttered. She got up with no resistance from her bed and made for her kitchen. Something funny was going on with this house. She wanted something on her stomach before she figured out what. Ditsy was by no means the strongest or fastest flyer in class. She had no illusions about that either. However, her determination easily made the top 5. Finding a friend at Fluttershy helped it flourish, encouraging the great filly to try a new approach with the bullies. In the past, she just ignored them as best she could. But when insults sifted from her eyes to her flying, the Pegasus decided that ignoring the painted growling was no longer the best option. Instead, she showed them just how wrong they were. From that point, Dizzy decided to spend as much time as airborne as possible, even if it was just a few inches above the white, puffy streets of Cloudsdale. She wanted her wings to grow as quickly as they could. One hallmark of her training was going straight through the window of her apartment from the street. It was only on the 3rd floor, and she'd been using clouds to soften impacts before she even knew what she was doing. so the sudden cramps did not fear her. As might expected from a building made by and for Pegasus, the apartment's complex balconies had doors rather than windows. As such, Dizzy was retrieving her key from the saddlebag, when she heard a muffled knock coming from the door. Curiosity piqued, and the possibility she was on the wrong balcony acknowledged, young Pegasus pressed an ear to the safe cloud. Mr. Lace. Ah, well, that confirmed that this was the right balcony. But where does he know the voice? Can I help you? My name is Faraday. Your husband worked for me at the weather factor. Of course. Mr. Day. Dizzy hadn't recognized him because he sounded so much happier. Wait, did he say, what? I'm sorry, ma'am. There was an accident with a high-tension thunderhead. He's sure every pony else got out first. He insisted. No. I was the last pony to see him. He said to give his love to you, Ditsy, and that he gave you this. No. I think he also believed he could fix the thing. He actually charged that before it went critical. Last words were, they were the motto of the Royal Guard. Pro Manualist. Mommy? Dizzy wasn't sure when she retrieved the key or turned the lock. All she remembered later was staring at the door and Sin's brown derby held in her mother's mouth, getting progressively darker with the mare's tears. The entire world seemed to vanish save for that single piece of headgear. Then, nothingness became chaos, and that hat became a bubble. Ah! Dizzy awoke with a start, momentarily disoriented as he struggled to reconcile her solid surroundings with the cloud by which he had just been surrounded. As her mind made its way out of the memory, she regathered what had actually happened before she fallen asleep to dream of it. Oh, you're awake, Princess Luna said, poking her head in the room, rather nicely scrambled the assembled defense. Your Highness! There was confusion of bedclothes, as Dizzy tried to get up and yell at the same time. The unicorn briefly appeared to be a pony-shaped black hole to the Pegasus monocyte, made the urge to genuine fight all the stronger. Please, Miss Dew, relax. The Princess of the Night moved to the bedside. You exhausted yourself getting here. The Pegasus took that last sentence and rebuilt her memories around it, coming to an astonishing conclusion. I teleported all the way to Canterlot. Coolest mommy ever! Dinky chose that moment to enter the room. Dinky? Hi, Mommy. Young Unicorn seemed to be dealing with a sudden translocation quite well. Princess Luna's been teaching me about concentrations. The unbrawly Alicorn smiled. It's nice to see a young pony with the interest in the stars. It didn't happen much before. Princess glanced to the ground. Well, before. For a moment there was awkward silence. Then Dizzy's mind went to her dream. As she smiled, she knew how to break the ice. The Pegasus drew herself as dignified as a posture she could manage in a tone. Well, what's past is past. The future is ours to clutch. Let's never speak of this again. She then followed with a dopey smile, and her eyes at least aligned. Luna's expression shifted from guilt to attentiveness, then to confusion. She looked at Dinky, only to see her nodding sagely at her mother's proclamation. What? So much encouraged dignity was comprised in that single syllable that it tipped the absurdity running through Luna's mind over a critical point. She began to shake with barely controlled laughter. After a few moments, she dropped to her knees and let out one practiced loud of hilarity that seemed out of place coming from the smaller goddess. Finally, after managing to compose herself again and wiping a tear from her eye, the mistress of the dusk gave a consented sigh. Oh, I needed that more than I knew. Thank you, Miss Dew. Both of you. Now, if you're feeling all right, Celestia and I have a few questions for you, as you might imagine, but she was interrupted by a sound of a snoring Ursa Minor. As Dizzy fought the urge to hide under her borrowed sheets, Luna smiled. But first, I should you like something to eat? With her daughter's left in the background, a mortified nod was the only reply the Pegasus trusted herself with. Once he had eaten more in one sitting than he could ever remember, Dizzy watched the distance being taken away with a longing gaze. He wasn't hungry, but as long as he'd been eating, she didn't have to answer any questions about how she managed to do something most unicorns couldn't. Still, unless he repeated the defeat, it was inevitable. She could tell that her mana bonds were still mostly exhausted. She wouldn't be planeswalking anytime soon, and teleportation in the same plane was right out for at least a week. Why is it that mana pulses are so rare to find in Ponyfix? With a sigh, she looked at the head of the table. or both regions were having their own plates bust.
All right, let's get this over with, she said resignedly.
Luna seemed sympathetic at that, but Celestia seemed amused, mischievous. Her face had the same gentle benevolence as always, no doubt cultivated over centuries, nay, millennia of political maneuvering. It was her expression that gave Ditsy pause, but her eyes. There was something that was similarly reminiscent of Pinkie Pie.
And what, exactly, said the Princess of the Sun, are you expecting from this, Ditsy Do?
The Pegasus quirked an eyebrow. All right, Princess, you want to play? We'll play.
Well, either recruit me into some secret police force of spellcasting Pegasi, or dissection in the Academy for Gifted Unicorns,
Ditsy smirked.
Maybe both of you just need tissue samples.
Luna bolted up from her seat, wings angrily erect. Why, I've never heard of such outrageous accusations! Or to think that you seem so nice when you awakened! Sister, She stared at her, sogging her co-ruler. Are you stickering? To be accurate, Celestia was now laughing outright, proposing what might be called guffawing. Dizzy had to bite her lip to keep from joining in. Luna, meanwhile, looked from one another, wondering if her millennia of exile, everybody else had gone insane. And what did they say about her own mental health that had taken another 10 months to notice? Just as one, Sister was certain as he returned to a world of lunatics. Oh, the horrible irony. Here, may have composed herself.
My apologies, dear sister. It's been quite some time since I met someone who not only recognized my jests, but was willing afraid to respond in kind.
Jest! Sister, this is a momentous occasion. A Pegasus capable of teleportation, a monster this can mean for all pony kind. On the Equestria! Why, we could... Luna didn't realize her sister's grin was not just a vestige of her earlier mirth. Resignedly, the young sister asked, This happened while I was in exile, wasn't it?
Maybe.
You made sure I was never recorded, didn't you?
Maybe.
Celestia was enjoying herself too, in Disney's opinion, in a Disney degree.
Well, that explains why I never came upon it in the archives. If you would be so kind as to enlighten us. Oh, very well. It was about 2,000 years ago.
2,000!
Luna interjected. Maybe it can mean no, dear sister.
The smile just kept getting bigger and bigger.
But why wouldn't I? As I recall, you had no patience for matters of the court at the time. Something about charming a young stallion? A rot. It was either Aristotle or Barreto, if I remember correctly. A rot. You did court both master and pupil, didn't you?
All right! The reform sent chills down Titsy's spine, and made her very grateful as he visited about them prior to the meal. Celestia seemed wholly unfazed.
Why, Luna, that was a near flawless impersonation of Aunt Elite.
In any case, let's reaffirm that time. But maybe it was hard to pull off when speaking through clenched teeth.
Yes, thousands of years ago, an earth pony.
An earth pony! Luna exclaimed. Dizzy suddenly found herself feeling passé.
Yes, sister, it was definitely an earth pony.
Did he fly?
No.
Teleport?
Not on his own.
Raise an army of zomponies! This made both bears look at her bemusingly. Flissing, the younger princess slowly knelt, giving the impression that she was trying to sneak under the table.
My apologies, sister, I've been interrupting you far too often. You were saying? Well, he really only cast one spell. One with which Ditsy Do is quite familiar.
The mermaid had taken a sudden leave of absence for Celestia's gaze. The Pegasus offered the only guess that made sense.
Planeswalking.
Luna perked up at this. Lucia's curiosity was now outweighed by her reluctance to endure further embarrassment. Celestia delivered smile number 53. Student who answers logically, but incorrectly.
No, but he had much to tell me of those who could, among other things.
Her smile slipped into an uncharacterized one of fond remembrance.
Ah, the times we had.
Sister! Indignation was apparently not part of the balance of Luna's silence.
Luna, we barely talked for a few minutes.
Dizzy felt it was only appropriate to give Celestia a turn to bless. Well, appropriate and funny.
And the rest of the time?
No bless. Just that same all-concealing grin, number 12.
A lady never tells, Ditsy Do. And a princess is nothing if not a lady. But I digress. As I said, the gentle colt Equestria told me many things I know nothing about. Among them planeswalkers, who could move beyond Equestria and its cosmos, and for that matter, into them from beyond. More importantly, he told me what to do in case one ever made himself known to me.
Dizzy swallowed. Here comes the test of whether that joke of hers was in fact reality.
And that would be,
Planeswalkers make every attempt they can to hide their exceptional nature from all but their own. If one was ever to reveal their nature to me, instead to find out what she wanted, and if I judged their cause was just, assisted her in any way I can. In a present feat of balance, the Princess of the Sun crossed her forearms across the table, and rested her head upon them.
so, tell me, whoever you are, what matter was so important that you teleported in plain sight of two of my little ponies to my castle, miles away, taking one of them, a flightless child I may add, along for the ride? And what is it that captured your attention, and yet has escaped the notice of we who guide the sun and moon?
Any leftover levity evaporated under that unyielding glare.
Dizzy swallowed the sun lump in her throat and considered her words carefully.
Firstly, Princess Celestia, I can assure you I am Equestria. Nikki is really my daughter, and I never meant to put her in any danger.
A voice stuck with emotion.
I don't know how I can prove it, but I am one of your little ponies.
Celestia's heart glowed with the gentle light of first dawn. Dizzy cringed for a moment, to feel a gentle pressure beneath an eye. Glowing spectre had dawned through dusk. There was a drop of liquid slave to the princess's magic. The smile on her face was now one the grey mare had worn herself, a mother's unconditional love.
That you cheers at the thought of my believing otherwise, Dizzy, is all the proof I ever need. Please continue.
Okay.
The mare had shaken and more than I thought. Dig it, a crisis of faith wasn't supposed to entail the goddess questioning her belief in mortal.
Well, I determined that the unique properties of the elements of harmony, now that they are bound to the souls of living ponies, are acting as a sort of a magic attractor. As such, mana is aggregating around the places that the element bearers spend most time in, that is, their homes. And as they do so, they are increasing the density of their magical energies in and around those places to the far beyond Questria's norm. Once that density goes beyond a certain threshold, it will allow intangible concepts to manifest into material bodies.
Lady Alicorn's expression was all business.
Concepts like those embodied by the elements?
Exactly. Once the threshold is passed, all that energy will collapse into entities like the ones that Celestia has never seen.
Luna frowned. But the elements are incontinent. Shouldn't we be seeing this phenomenon here?
Dizzy shook her head.
The physical items may be here, but those aren't the elements entirely. Not anymore. Living ponies embody them now, and life grows.
So why didn't something like this happen when Celestia and I were attuned to the elements?
Twilight Pegasus considered this for a brief time.
You two maintain a heavy restraint on your power, correct?
The contents of the question hit her.
Dennis, you don't mind me asking. Your majesties.
Well, Celestia could have smiled number 23. Pony who thinks she has offended me.
The integrity of our world hangs in the balance, Dizzy. As far as I'm concerned, propriety can take a fine leap over duration. In any case, if we do, our full power was on display. Anything nearby would be vaporized or flash frozen in an instant.
Well, there you go. You were already used to holding back phenomenal cosmic power. The elements were just 6 drops in a bucket.
A bit more than that. The sun god's expression turned serious again. Now, aside from the obvious, what other consequences might all of this carry?
That's where I'm really concerned. Every plane of existence exists in a certain state of balance between the mundane and fantastic. Normally, concept elementals will arise only within planes heavily weighted towards the latter. Compared to some of the places I've seen, Equestria is certainly fantastical, but it isn't quite there. However these things appear, well, that's where the logic of magic hits us in the hindquarters.
Celestia nodded. The law of precedence. It's most difficult to do something the first time.
Exactly. Once a precedent is set, it becomes easier. And if it's easier for concepts to manifest in Equestria, that means the balance is tipped further in favor of the material. Because if it's a cycle, I don't know where it ends.
The Princess of the Night shook her head. Logic turning cause and effect on their heads. Typically. So what would the end consequences of this scenario be?
Greymere shrugged. What would the end consequences of changing intensity and gravity be? Then it may be uncontrollably alter one of the fundamental constants of the entire universe. Every pony in the world might sprout wings and horns. Key marks would detach themselves and mutate into mind-rending aberrations. Every ley line in the universe might collapse into an octane whole. All I can say for certain is it won't be pretty.
All three digested this for some time. Luna was the one who broke the silence. How long do you think we have? Something clicked in Dizzy's mind. Was a word the degree of hunger she felt.
how badly she had to use the bedroom. Just a hunch, but she realized she had been making an assumption she had no reason to.
How long have I been unconscious?
About a day, said the Night Princess.
Then, by my most optimistic estimate, about a week.
Like the most pessimistic ones?
2, maybe 3 hours.
Celestia did not show anger very often. She had a giant seething mass of white-hot plasma to do it for her. That moment, a series of short-lived sunspots stretched across the sun's stratosphere. Had any point been able to see them, they would read, Party of 1. 1 colorless mana, 2 blue mana. You got a new card! Enchantment! Each non-creature artifact you control is an illusion creature with power and toughness equal to the converted mana cost in addition to other types. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you sacrifice a non-illusion creature, sacrifice Party of 1.